Well, Loretta Downes now comes forward as we read the news briefly, and Miss Downes deals with a wizard.
The new RCA Victor television sets for 1959 are the result of the experience that built over 10 million TV sets. Of course, that means the ultimate in quality, but it also means the last word in new features. And one of the greatest of these is the wireless wizard, the electronic remote control. Without any wires, without interference from appliances or anything else, you can go anywhere in the room with the wireless wizard and have complete push-button control of your RCA Victor TV set. You can turn it on, off, change channels, raise and lower volume. But look, when you slip it back into its compartment, the wireless wizard still operates as regular push-button controls. It's the kind of exclusive new feature you really ought to see and work for yourself, along with all the other wonderful features of the new RCA Victor TV for $59. And you can own RCA Victor TV for as little as $1.47 per week after a small down payment at your dealers now.
And now back to the news. The end of summer and vacation days was officially marked today for nearly 139,000 Philadelphia youngsters who entered the city's 218 elementary schools. The intersection of 56th and Christian Street seemed to come alive with little people this morning as pupils reported for class at the Heritage School. The first graders, shown here with their teacher, Mrs. Patricia Highland, spend the day getting acquainted and fingering pencils and books. The children seem too busy to relish the thought that they are probably going through the happiest years of their lives. The Philadelphia Police Department's Juvenile Aid Division today reported that crimes by boys under 18 dropped by over 25% in July as compared with the same period last year. In July 1957, 602 youngsters were arrested. This year in July, 447. Off again, on again, off again is the story. These scenes at the Philadelphia entrance of Edward Heller's dump in Darby Township were taken last Wednesday when Philadelphia crews set up a so-called permanent barrier to prevent trucks from entering. Philadelphia housewives, once forming their own picket line, had protested the dump for reasons of health and noise during sleeping hours. Well, back at the dump today, the same crews began digging out the barricades following a court order by Judge Chudoff, which stipulates that the dump can be used but must be closed from midnight until 8 a.m., and dikes along Darby Creek be restored to prevent flood damage on the city's side. Although the number of unemployed workers in the nation dropped by 600,000 last month, the total of jobless was still the highest for the season since the end of World War II. In August, it stood at 4,699,000 unemployed. Fairmont Park guards, who have zealously tried to prevent that flood of white Mute Holland swans from suicidal voyages over the dam in the Schuylkill River, have been ordered by the Park Commission to let the birds look out for themselves. The Commission is afraid that a guard may be injured or killed shepherding the errant birds. 3 of the original 20 swans are missing after their forays. More news later, but now for news of the weather, we go to Francis Davis, who is brought to you by RCA Whirpool.
Thank you, Gunnar. Well, I'm tempted to say the weather was a bit chilly this morning, but I got a card this afternoon from a gentleman who asked me to quit editorializing on the temperatures because what might be chilly or comfortable to me may not be to him and some other people. For example, when the temperature reaches 80, he's ready to classify that as the beginning of dog days because he's from a northern climate. Well, maybe I'd best say that it was 51 in Philadelphia this morning, the second time it's got that low, and it was only 2 degrees above the low temperature record for the date. Furthermore, temperatures were down in the 30s in the mountains of Pennsylvania. However, it should get a bit milder tomorrow. Not more comfortable, mind you, but a bit milder, and we'll say more about that while we take a look at the weather map. This cool air has been coming in ahead of high pressure, which is now nearing the coast of Virginia. We've been getting northwesterly winds ahead of that system, but they're gradually swinging toward the west and southwest as the high approaches the coastline. Right now, our temperature is 72 degrees with a humidity of 32%. The wind is from the west at 6 miles an hour, and the barometer is falling slowly, 29.98 inches at sea level. This warming trend won't last too long, however. There's another cool air mass moving into the western Ohio Valley and approaching at a rate which would get it in here about tomorrow night. It's possible for a brief shower to break out ahead of that in this area late tomorrow, though there's no appreciable rain with it at the moment. Then there's fair and somewhat cooler weather on top again for Thursday and Friday, the latter part of the week. Down along the South Jersey coast and over Delaware Bay tomorrow, winds will be southwesterly and pick up to 18 to 22 miles an hour with partly cloudy weather and mostly good visibility. We'll have more detail on local weather in a minute, right after this message from RCA Whirlpool with Loretta Downes.
Do you have this much space available for an automatic washer? Well, it isn't much, I know, just 24 inches. But it's all you need to accommodate a fully automatic two-cycle RCA Whirpool Space Miser. Now, don't let this 24 inches fool you. This is a full family-size automatic with a larger capacity than many other brands that are wider and higher priced. And don't forget it's a real two-cycle washer. One for regular wash, the other for special wash and wear fabrics. It also has the wonderful built-in lint filter. So if lack of space has kept you from enjoying the convenience of an automatic washer, your troubles are over. Let an RCA Whirlpool Space Miser two-cycle automatic washer solve the whole problem for you. Pay as little as $1.66 per week after a small down payment. See the Space Miser at your RCA Whirlpool dealers tomorrow.
In Reading, Pomeroy's department store. In Laureldale, Steely's Appliances and Hobbies. And in Atlantic City, South Jersey Gas Company.
And the local weather outlook. Generally fair tonight, not quite so cool, but still consider it pretty good sleeping weather, I think. Lowest temperatures 55 to 60 degrees. For tomorrow, partly cloudy skies during the day. It'll be a bit warmer. Temperatures ought to get somewhere between 75 and 80 Wednesday afternoon. There's a chance for a brief shower in the afternoon or evening, and that should make way for Thursday to be generally fair and somewhat cooler again. Now back to Gunnar Back.
The 19-year-old son of Pittsburgh's Mayor David Lawrence today turned over his driver's license to the state and asked that the canceled speeding violation against him be invoked. The charge was dropped when police couldn't accurately prove that Gerald Lawrence was speeding. The son of the Democrat gubernatorial candidate said he knew he was wrong and he wanted to take his medicine. The number of polio cases in Philadelphia so far this year reached the 30 mark today as 15-year-old Joseph Harrison of 713 North 20th Street was admitted to PGH. He had not been inoculated with the Salk vaccine. A headline now from the front page of tomorrow morning's Philadelphia Inquirer, Dulles hints...